Hey everyone, Harrison here. How good Chevreuse is. She can be a good healer, can deal a decent amount of damage. Oh whoa, this is a huge AoE. And she can buff the whole party members by reducing at the same time the Pyro and Electro resistance, and gives attack as well. Oh, 3 good functions for a single 4-star character? That's too much. Yes, she's niche too. This is not a function but can be a reasonable explanation for her nicheness. I don't know if this word exists, but you got. How good Chevreuse can be! I'm a little afraid to be honest, because when it comes to a 4-star character, 2 functions is enough to be strong. Even for a niche character, for instance Farzan. She reduces animal resistance and gives an animal damage bonus based on her own attack. See? 2 things. Or functions. Another example, Bennett. He is not niche, but he just gives high attack buff and heal. You might be wondering, but no, Bennett can apply Pyro too, but this is not a Pyro application. Someone also told me before, Farzan also do damage. Do you call that damage? Well, every character do damage somehow. This is not the focus of Farzan. So, let's find out the best way to use Chevreuse. We'll master her gameplay, so I will be very happy if you watch this video until the end. I will be happier if you press the like and subscribe button. This will take 5 seconds or less, but will give a meaning of the whole 4 days I spent making this video. Thank you so much! Without further ado, let's start. Let's take a look at my Chevreuse builds. Well, I don't know if I can build her as a full buffer, putting 400 of HP, or a full DPS, quick swap damage dealer. I will do both, in order to find out the best way to use her. This is not the title of this video. Yes. So first, in order to use a Chevreuse as a DPS, I will use the Massive Wind Spear, the polearm we got from 3.1 event. I hope you have, because it's the only way to build Chevreuse as a DPS. You don't? Oh, you didn't play Genshin back in 3.1? Oh, what a shame. Seems like hoyoverse is not so friendly with new players and players who taken breaks. I'm just kidding, you can use any other polearm with attack, crit rate or damage on base stats, like a Black Cliff Pull or Prospector Drill. And after this, I will build her as a full buffer. I will use the Rightful Reward polearm. It's the new forgeable weapon from Fontaine, because of the HP on base stats. The only thing I need to do to switch Chevreuse from a full buffer to a full DPS is just get rid of all HP and get some attack, crit rate and damage. It is worth it? I don't know, we'll find out. As a DPS, I will be using 2 pieces of Crimson Witch and 2 of Golden Troop. As a buffer, I will use the new set, Song of the Days Fast. Starting with her normal attack, she performs up to 4 consecutive spear strikes, dealing physical damage. Chevreuse charge attack is pretty common, doesn't have any special effect or moving. Consume a certain amount of stamina to plunge forward, dealing physical damage to opponents along the way. Chevreuse elemental skill called Short Range Rapid Interdiction Fire have 2 modes, not 2 charges, I would like if it was 2 charges, but it's 2 modes with 2 different effects. A normal shot and an aiming shot. The aiming shots make Chevreuse deals increased damage compared to a normal shot. The Archie alliance of Chevreuse is Ozia. Then after hits, a Surging Blade will be unleashed, dealing Ozia aligned pyro damage. After using her elemental skill, Chevreuse will continuously heal the active character for 12 seconds. Can you see these bullets around her? Can you? This is a special ammo. It appears after you trigger an overloaded reaction. When you use Chevreuse aiming shot, she will consume the special ammo and unleash an overcharge ball. Whoa, this AoE is so huge. It's only possible to hold 1 special ammo at once. The problem is the cooldown. Another special ammo can be created quickly after you consume and trigger an overloaded reaction, but the problem is the long cooldown. You need to wait too long before fire another special ammo. Oh my god. I think there's not too much explanation about her skill. Now let's talk about a Chevreuse first passive called Vanguard's Coordinated Tactics. Chevreuse will give to everyone a state called Coordinated Tactics. Now listen carefully. After you trigger an overloaded reaction, just after you trigger it, the Pyro and Electro resistance to the opponents under the effect of the overloaded reaction will be decreased, both for 40% for 6 seconds. I'm not so happy for this tiny duration. If you compare to Nilo first passive, I know that Nilo is a 5-star character, but Nilo's first passive duration is 30 seconds. Even with this huge duration, sometimes you need to pay attention to use Nilo's skill again, or you will notice that the enemies are not dying. But the coolest thing of this passive is that they said both Pyro and Electro resistance are decreased for 40%, which means 80% of increased damage overall. Don't worry, I already tried out. To fully seize this increased damage, I recommend you use a good Electro and a Pyro sub-DPS like Yaimiko or Shangling. Chevreuse's second passive is the thing that makes her a little more well-targeted. You will get what I mean. Basically, after you use her elemental skill and fire an overcharge ball for 30 seconds, all characters in the party with Electro or Pyro visions will get 1% of attack for each 100 of max HP that Chevreuse possess. The maximum of increased attack you can get this way is 40%. This passive is amazing, don't you think? You might be thinking, oh no, what the heck? What is the big deal of this passive? They said all characters in the party will get increased attack. All characters individually. It's like when you use other characters' burst above Bennett's burst to get the attack buff too. Chevreuse do this automatically, but Bennett's burst is like an incompatible thing. If at least 3 characters in the party are DPS or buffered like Bennett, then you will have around 120 of increased attack. Chevreuse seems a match for Bennett. Yes, she would be if she was unleashed. But if you play with her as a full buffer, obviously you will get better result and a pretty decent performance too. All characters in the party will get so much increased attack and you won't worry too much about this huge CD. So here's my final conclusion. Use her as a full buffer. Forget all the crit rate and attack I said to you before. After we understand how good Chevreuse can be as a buffer, it's useless to build her as a quick swap DPS. Now it's time to understand her constellations. C1 is not good, gives just 6 of energy for your DPS with the coordinated tactics active. A single piece of artifact with a good energy recharge on substats can resolve. Chevreuse C2 makes her deal extra damage after you hold or tap her elemental skill. When she hits an opponent, extra damage will be unleashed based 120% of Chevreuse attack. I don't think this is worth it, because you will build her as a buffer, don't you? Well, will depend on your choice, but if you build her as a DPS, this constellation will gain a different meaning. C3 increases her elemental skill by 3. Oh, another constellation useful for Chevreuse DPS. C4 is... I'm speechless. Do you remember when I say one of the big problems of Chevreuse is her long skill CD? Yeah, hoyoverse solved this at C4. That's not new. We are used to see Constellation solving problems of many characters, like the king of the high CD, Child. Basically, Chevreuse elemental skill won't enter in cooldown, at least after you use more 2 times. C6 has always increased the burst by 3, and Chevreuse burst is quite decent, but since Chevreuse is more focused on being a buffer than DPS, so this is not necessarily a mandatory request. I'm quite curious to see Chevreuse 6. Let's go. As I expected. Whoa, what a beautiful constellation we have for Chevreuse buffer. Okay, let's make a quick recap. These are the 4-star characters that turns a different characters when you have they add C6. And now you can add Chevreuse on it. Yes, at C6, Chevreuse is a different character. Firstly, she will recover more 10% of each character max HP once. The best part comes now. The active character will get 60% of elemental damage bonus for 80 seconds, after Chevreuse heal him. Thank you so much to watch this video until this moment. So, Chevreuse is a nice character to have in the account. She can be very versatile, and yes, she turns a different characters at C6, like Kujusara or Farzan. Overloaded is not my favorite reaction, but who knows, maybe I start get used with these little enemies get knocking around. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. This will take 5 seconds or less. Tell me your thoughts about Chevreuse below in the comments. Let's discuss. See you when you see me.